丸いところ.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, so Dr. Vigavia, thank you for having us today. We just wanted to ask you a few more questions about the case and what we've been learning. So I guess I first want to ask you how your career at White Pharmaceuticals started.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting with you and answer any questions.
Yes.
And yes, my career started since I studied for my PhD at University of Pennsylvania, and I would like to pursue my chemistry degree
Okay.
into making advances to help coming with new molecules which can maybe have some biological activity. So this is how it started, and then I worked for pharmaceutical for Wyeth, and I became from researcher on the bench to manager, managing a large group, working in different area of diseases.
Wow, so I guess you went from researcher to management in the company. But what was it like transitioning for those two positions, and what did you have to be careful or pay attention to when you did that?
Well, I think as a researcher, when you come in, you have to really have a passion for what you're doing. And my advice for anyone who start their career, try to really make the most out of it. So I was fortunate enough that I've been working hard and try to work in several areas. So many of the first 5 years produced a lot of molecules which was active in many areas, in CNS diseases and also in cardiovascular. So then the company asked me to take a lead and manage a group of scientists. So as a manager, I didn't lose track of the science. So I would call myself scientific manager. And I think for people who work in research, it's very important whether you work on the bench as a scientist or managing a team, don't lose track of the science.
Okay, and what was it like making like a good environment for all your researchers with different characters and strength and personality to work?
Well, I would say one terminology which science is the easy part. It's very hard managing people. So in order to be successful as a manager of scientists, they are very hard to manage, but you have to understand their aspiration and the nature of their work. Some of them will be team player. Some of them, believe it or not, the most innovative will not be team player. So you have to prepare the environment where to bring the most out of them. So managing the scientist, you have to make sure that you manage their expectation. It's very important.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. And I guess we want to move on to that topic
Sure.
about the chart that we were mentioning
Yes.
about. Everyone listening to this video would know this because it's okay. So this table that we have right here. So I guess the biggest talk was that you set a goal for 12 compounds, and you mentioned that it was even increased more. So could you tell us a little about that,
Yes.
going on to 16
Sure.
compounds?
I mean, that graph where we tied in with metrics. And remember in the early days, the company used to maybe put very handful of IND for clinical trial. So when the new management changed, we would like actually to improve in our productivity. So there was a metrics has been put in. If you're gonna put 6 IND, so for us to put 6 IND, they come from research and discovery. How many projects you need to start, and don't forget, not every project will be a success. So when you work the math backward, and to get the 6 IND, then we said that we need to have 12 molecules to move into clinical trial, and those what we call development candidate. So those 12 come from the organization, which have group running small molecule, which my group, and group running biologics, and group running vaccine. And as you know, most of the drugs are small molecule. So 9 of those 12 come from my group, and the other 3 come from biologic and vaccine. So we all tied in together to develop 6 IND so we can reach 2 market drug every year. That's how the graph came in.
Wow, and you mentioned that it was 12 during this time, but after that,
After
what
that,
happened?
actually, we agreed that since we've been doing the 12 actually consistently for a few years, then we raised the bar and we said maybe we'll have 16. So
Wow.
that's changed to 16, but
Mhm.
I left the company actually around 2008. So that
Okay.
was the new goal.
Yeah, but it's really impressive that you kept increasing the bar.
Yes.
But what was the quality of the 12? Like, did it go down or was
Yeah,
it
it's very
compromised?
important that when you set the bar higher, that you don't compromise on quality. And that's very important. And that's why when you say, I'm going to have 9 from my group, and we stretch effort in 1 year
Mhm.
because there was no biologic and no vaccine.
Mhm.
So came all 12 from my group, but we've been working the entire year, even till the end of December, because our time frame was 12 months. During the 12 months, we get the deliverable. So we've been working actually even during Christmas to achieve, because we don't want to really compromise
Mhm.
inequality
Mm.
on the work.
And what were the types of the diversity of these drugs like? Were they in the same area or did you try
No,
to
actually,
make
they are
ones?
different because we have, in my team, we work in neuroscience and oncology and work in cardiovascular.
Mhm.
So they could be different areas, but it could be from the same area, 2 molecules. Like say if we have one for depression, maybe another one
Mhm.
will be for Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
So you can get 2 CNS.
Mhm.
So it vary in their diversity, but they all
Wow.
have one in common, the quality.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing that you increased in quality and number. So that's kind of like a surprise to hear. And also important point about the case is about Mr. Ruffalo. What was he like?
Oh, Bob Ruffalo, yes. Robert Ruffalo, or we call him Bob Ruffalo, he came in around the year 2000.
Mhm.
And when he came in, that the organization was going actually through a really bad period of our previous 2 to 4 years in terms of productivity, in terms of moving things into clinical trial.
Mhm.
So Bob is more personality like a military guy. So he actually tried to set performance standard
Mhm.
and metrics, and he
Wow.
tried actually to change the culture.
Mhm.
And as you say, I mean, if you have a train running, either you be on the train or you get off the train.
Mhm.
So that was Bob Ruffalo's personality
Wow.
as a leader of R&D.
It
Yes.
must be a very interesting experience to having
Yes,
had worked with him.
definitely.
Wow, thank you. So I guess we're kind of approaching the end of our interview, and I think people who will be watching this will be students in medicine and pharma, and anyone interested in healthcare, and those that are already working as doctors or any healthcare-related industries. So do you think you kind of have a message for all of our audience?
Well, I think for all the health science practitioner, I think it's very important that in your opportunity, whether you work as a pharmacist or medical doctor or researcher, that you really have passion in your job. And one of the important things, as you know, you start your career by having good credential, but in order to succeed and move in your career, this actually is going to be depend on your performance and really how you make the most out of your opportunity. And of course, we all in health science have the patient in mind, that we're doing a noble profession, that we try to help many patients actually across disease state if we can.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much for taking your time with us today.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.